Hi, Newcore teammates. My name's Bradie Clements, and this year will mark my 20th year working for what I think is the greatest company in the world, Newcore Steel. And I was asked today to share a personal message with you guys about distracted driving. April is National Distracted Driving Month, and this April will mark the 8th anniversary of the worst day of my life, April 20th, 2015. And before I tell you about that day, I want to challenge each and every one of you as you're listening to this video, think about who this message could be given to. Could you share this message with a child, a grandchild, a neighbor, a niece, a nephew, perhaps even your own spouse? Is this someone you could say, hey, can you listen to this for just 1 second? But before we get started, I believe in interactive communication. So if you would take a piece of paper or a pen, I know you're probably at your desk or you've got your iPhone in your hand, just open your notes. I just need you to write down something real quick. And in a little bit, it'll make a little more sense. But I need you to write on the piece of paper, Bradie's mom. Bradies, Bradie's mom. Okay? And under that, I need you to write 660-541-1279. Again, 660-541-1279. And in a little bit, that'll make a little more sense. So please listen along. Think about who you would share this message with. And I'll be right back afterwards to share a couple challenges with you.
See, I have socks on that have puppies on them. Pretty like puppies. Before I start this, I'm going to wing it for just a second with something that happened this morning. I dropped in at school, and I went to the cemetery in my pajamas and my chore boots, and I stood at my son's grave, and I asked him to give me strength. I asked Bradie to help me find the words that would get through to all of you today. Because I can't walk in his bedroom anymore and find him laying on his bed. And I can't drive to his house in Fairfax and sit on his couch and talk to him when I need to talk to him. And I can't even pick up the phone and call him anymore, even though he's been my favorite. How many of you have an iPhone with favorites? Pick it up, boom. I can't do that with Bradie anymore. So I stood at his grave and I asked him for strength to find words to talk to you guys so that your parents never have to stand at your grave in their pajamas with their chore boots. My name is Bradie Clements, and on April 20th, just 165 days ago, my son Bradie didn't survive to drive home from work. Bradie was 19 years old, and he was an amazing kid. Many of you in here right now know Bradie, or one of his little brothers, Blake or Ben. On that April night, Bradie was driving home from work. He just started working the 3 to 11 shift at Kawasaki with his dad. And he was headed home to his house in Fairfax that he just started to share with his girlfriend Katie Beck a few months before that. According to his phone records, Bradie's last phone call was to Katie at 11:30. He told her he was just leaving town, Maryville. He would be home soon, and that he loved her. And then Katie fell asleep. Just a few minutes later, at around 11:45 on Highway 46, Bradie passed a slower-moving car. He lost control of his 2004 F-350 Ford he just got a couple months before that. His truck started to spin out of control, propelling the truck into a hillside, where Bradie was ejected through the windshield. Bradie did not have a seatbelt on. He died instantly on a dark, lonely hillside, just driving home from work. You can go 12 miles from my driveway to where my son died. So when you think that it can't happen that close to your home, Bradie was 12 miles from my bed to where my son died. Most young people don't think bad things can ever happen to them. They think bad things only happen to bad people or stupid people or people who deserve it. So I would like to demonstrate to you how bad things happen to normal people, people just like you. I need all the young kids to stand up. Bradie had 2 parents, 2 brothers, and a girlfriend that loved him very much. If you have somebody at home that loves you, I want you to keep standing. Bradie lived his entire life in Northwest Missouri and graduated from MHS. If you live in Northwest Missouri or Southwest Iowa and plan to graduate from a high school in this area, I want you to keep standing. Bradie attended this docudrama as a sophomore in MHS. If you're here today and you're paying attention, I want you to keep standing. Bradie was driving over the speed limit when he passed the car, and if you've ever been driving or riding in a car that was over the speed limit, I want you to keep standing. Bradie loved to make people laugh, and he loved to be with his friends. If you like to laugh and hang out with your friends, I want you to keep standing. Bradie loved to be outdoors, hunting, being at the lake with his friends, or working with his dogs. If you like to spend time outside, I want you to keep standing. Bradie loved driving his Ford truck, riding around with his friends. If you've ever driven a vehicle or been a passenger in a car with your friends, I want you to keep standing. Bradie had plans to attend a competition hunt with his dog Jake the weekend after his funeral. If you have plans this coming weekend with friends or family, I want you to keep standing. Bradie loved Polly Ice Pizza, Taco John's, and McDonald's. If you ever eat at any of those places, I want you to keep standing. Bradie was driving home from work, past a slower moving car. If you've ever been in a vehicle that passed another slower moving car, please keep standing. Now I want you to look around. How many of you are still standing? I've just demonstrated 10 characteristics that you and all of your friends have in common with my son, and he's gone. Never coming home. And he's just like all of you. And if it can happen to him and he can die in an accident, so can you. And that's why it's important that you're smart when you're behind the wheel. Because if an accident can happen without drugs, alcohol, and texting, you're only increasing your chances of dying in an accident if you aren't smart behind the wheel or riding with friends who aren't safe to ride with. Go ahead and sit back down. You must wear your seatbelt. This is my message for you today. You must wear your seatbelt. Bradie didn't have his on. It didn't matter. I preached to him. It didn't matter. You have to wear your seatbelt, and you have to speak up for yourself. Tell your friends to put their phones away if they're texting and driving, or take their keys if they've been drinking or using drugs. Be brave and bold enough to call a family member for a ride home if you need a safe ride. If you don't feel safe riding with your friends, or you've had a drink, or you're too tired, be brave and bold enough to call your parents if you've been drinking at a party. And if they get mad, you tell them to call me. I'll give you my number. You tell your parents to call me if they're upset because you've been drinking and don't want to drive home, because I will tell them what it's like to sit alone in Bradie's bedroom and beg God to bring him back to me. I will tell them what it's like to open his dresser drawers and pull out one of his t-shirts and pray that I can still smell the outdoors on one of his shirts. I'll tell them what it's like to lay awake in bed at night and pray that I will hear his loud truck, 95 Ford, pull it up the drive, just like it always did. I will tell them what it's like to stand at his grave and plead with God to wake me up from this nightmare. And I'll tell them what it's like to walk through my home and see my walls covered with pictures of my beautiful son, who's never coming home, because he died that night on a cold, dark highway just driving home from work. I bet your parents wouldn't stay mad at you for long for calling if they had a clue what it's like to bury a child and never want your parents to know this kind of pain. When you think this can't happen, when you think this docudrama is all just for show, these are the men who knocked on my door to hand us my son's wallet and tell me my son was never coming home. This is all we got that night, was Bradie's wallet. And these men do this job because it's important. And this is the man who put my son in a body bag and delivered him to Bradie's funeral home. And this is the man who put my son back together so that I could see him one more time and say goodbye, and so his friends could see him. And I don't know if Pastor Paul's here, but Pastor Paul's the man who gives me the strength. And I believe when he tells me my son is in heaven, and I'm going to see my son again. So you think these men don't do this, and you think it's all for show? This really happens. I was here last year. I helped plan the event for where I work. I was here. I was throughout all this. I listened to Dell's speeches. And 6 months later, it's them knocking on my door, telling me my son's not coming home. If you think they would never knock on your parents' door, you're wrong. It can happen. Please be bold and be brave and speak up. Buckle up, put your phone away, and arrive home safely. Do it for the people who love you and want you to come home. Don't make your mom and dad
Hey folks, welcome back. I hope that while you were watching that short video, you instantly thought of someone that needed that message, someone you could share it with, and even my number. That's my personal cell phone number. You know, this is personal for me, and if there's someone in your life who you know is drinking and driving or not wearing their seatbelt, and they just won't listen and they're afraid you're going to get mad at them, you give them my number. Have them call me, man. I'll let them know it's not okay and that they need to be bold and brave and speak up for safe driving. And even if it's you, if you have a child come to you and say, hey, Dad, where's your seatbelt? Or, hey, Mom, how many drinks did you have? Make sure that you listen to that message as well and be a role model and a leader and take it to heart and pass it out. That's what I really hope you do with that message. And the second thing is I challenge each and every one of you to find something you're passionate about. For me, unfortunately, it's become distracted driving. I mean, God didn't give me a choice the day he took my child to heaven, but I had to make a choice of how I was going to continue to live with that. And I chose to say, I'm going to do what I can so that another mother never feels this kind of pain. And if me speaking speaks to one child, it makes all the difference in the world. So I encourage you to find out what you're passionate about. And I know everyone says, oh, I don't have time for that. I'm busy. You make time for what's important. And it's important for each one of us to be leaders in our community and make this place a better place to raise our children and our grandchildren and just leave it better than we found it. So thank you all for listening. I say it all the time, be bold and be brave, speak up and do it for Bradie. Do it for my boy, you know, just do it for Bradie. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.